Means we're live. Some Casual Takes, episode 66, hosted by your boy, Stephen Pepper, here to casually talk sports. This episode is brought to you by no one. Hey, I know it's been a while. It's been a week since you guys seen me. No show last Friday. Had some personal stuff to get through. I was busy, had some stuff. So no show Friday. And I promised a banger today, and I got a full show. A lot of topics to talk about today. Today, we're going to talk about Chiefs, Jets, Sunday Night Football, Broncos versus Bears, USC, Colorado, some more college football, and of course, some of the NBA trades that have transpired because I missed a lot. No Friday show. That means I missed the Thursday Night Football, Lions, Packers. I wanted to talk about that. I missed the Dame trade. I was going to actually have like a majority NBA episode. I just missed that. I apologize, guys. I had stuff to do. You guys know, college student, personal issues, had to deal with some stuff, but now I'm back here. YouTube people didn't know, but you guys have to remember, I say at the end of all my shows, follow my socials. I give updates. I post the update on TikTok. I'm sorry for the people. I guess that's just what you get for not following the TikTok. You didn't get the update. Today's NBA Media Day. We're not talking a lot about the NBA, but we will at the end of the show. Today's the NBA Media Day. I'm excited. We get preseason basketball this Saturday. Lakers play the Warriors. I'll probably talk about that game on the Monday show, maybe a little preview on Friday. We'll see. But the funniest thing I saw for the Media Day before we get into today's topics is the Charlotte Hornets revealed their sponsor patch, because you guys know every NBA jersey has a sponsor patch. Theirs, dude, the Charlotte Hornets, they're a disaster, by the way. You got the Bridges situation, LaMelo Ball injuries. They got so many guys who just have so many situations, police reports, arrests, suspensions, injuries. Charlotte's a mess. And now they got the Kai Jones, the young guy. He's having bizarre episodes on social media. Charlotte's a mess. They had their media today. To add on top of the mess, Charlotte unveiled a Mr. Beast. Who would have thought going into media day, you would have saw some sponsors, maybe like a Target, big Walmart, just big brands. Dude, I don't know, some big brand. Mr. Beast, what does he call them? Beastables? I think it's like food, like candy thing. He calls them like Beastables. Mr. Beach. Who would have thought a celebrity? I would have thought like Prime, KSI Logan Paul's their drink. I would have thought Prime would have had a sponsorship, the first to have an NBA sponsorship, because they're a pretty big brand. They're rivaling some of the big sports drinks. They're all over stores. Mr. Beast has a patch. Dude, welcome to the new age of sponsorships, medias, industries, social media stars are running it all. And now I can't wait for a player on the Charlotte Hornets to get dunked on while he's wearing a Mr. Beast Beastables patch. I didn't envision that when I started looking at the media day live streams. All right, let's go Jets Chiefs. This was Sunday night football. I was driving home last night. I went home over the weekend, by the way. That's also one of the reasons why I didn't have a show. I went home over the weekend. I was driving home yesterday to get back to school because I had class today. Obviously, I can't miss Mondays. I was driving home late night. It's a 2-hour drive from my school and to where I live. So I need something on. I need to listen to something when I'm on. So I fired up. Perfect timing. Chiefs Jets was playing on the same time. I was driving home. The Chiefs immediately jump out to a 17-0 lead. And I'm like, okay, I got to turn this off. I got to turn this off. I have nothing to listen to now. This is going to be a painful 2-hour drive home because the Chiefs, just in like the first quarter, go up a quick 17-0. Zach Wilson can't get the ball out. Who would have thought this is going to be like last week when they beat the Bears like 40-10? I was wrong. After that, safety, field goal, Jets start scoring touchdowns, and we had a tie game going in like the fourth quarter. What a game. What a turnaround. Almost comeback by the Jets. This was a very good game. I didn't expect it to be a very good game. Now, the Jets defense initially was going to slow down this Chiefs offense, but I've seen from Mac Jones, disgusting game against the Cowboys, disgusting game against the Jets. I didn't think he was going to pull this off. But he didn't pull it off, but he got close. And this was Zach Wilson's best game. Sorry, there was a bug on my monitor. This was Zach Wilson's best game, I think, of his entire career. He's been in the league for 3 years, but I think this is his best game of his entire career. When I think about the Zach Wilson game, it just reinforces what I've been kind of telling you guys on a couple podcasts now. It's like, a great scheme and a team can make the most out of a not-so-great quarterback. You can have like a not so great. You don't need a special quarterback to win games in this league. I think you need a special quarterback to win Super Bowls. I mean, look at the last like 10 years. A special quarterback has won Super Bowls, but look at a lot of the quarterbacks who've have won divisions. Look at the last quarterbacks who've been at championship games. A couple of these last quarterbacks have been to Super Bowls. You don't need a special quarterback to push forward this league as long as you have a great scheme, playmaking weapons, and a good defense. They can make the most out of a not so great QB. Remind you, Jimmy Garoppolo, I've seen him go to a Super Bowl. Brock Purdy, not so great of a he's good, not so talented. I've seen him go to an NFC Championship game. A great scheme and a great defense can take a team so far. Kyle Shanahan's scheme, Jimmy G Super Bowl with that defense. Also with Brock Purdy, 49ers 4-0. Shanahan's scheme, that defense. A great scheme and defense can take a not so great quarterback so far. So it seems like Zach Wilson, all these last couple of weeks, Saleh has been putting his time and effort and faith into standing by Zach Wilson. And it looked like it's finally working. Now, it didn't work fully because they didn't win. And, Zach Wilson still had that game-losing turnover that we expect Zach Wilson to have. But it seemed like Zach Wilson started catching up to that West Coast offense that they implemented with Nathaniel Hackett for Aaron Rodgers. You guys don't know what the West Coast offense is. It's snap the ball, get it out in 2 seconds, first read not there, second read not there, then quarterback go make a play. Zach Wilson's not used to that offense. Zach Wilson at BYU had just so much time to throw. Had like 5-6 seconds to throw at BYU. He could take all the time in the world, but the NFL, all you guys need to know, you have 2 seconds to throw. So Zach Wilson didn't process reads as quickly at BYU, didn't translate to the NFL, but now it looked like last night he was comfortable to that West Coast offense. First read, not there. Second read, get to the second read. If the first read's not there, and it's going to be a quick route, ball in space for the playmakers to make plays. You have a quarterback like Zach Wilson. It's kind of like just like the Brock Purdy situation. Brock Purdy, by the way, is more talented than Zach Wilson. I take that back. He's better. He can win more games than Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson is more raw talent, but you get what I'm saying. It's kind of like the Brock Purdy situation. It's more of like, hey, scheme, defense, West Coast offense, ball in hand of playmakers instead of quarterback makes plays. It's playmakers make plays, put the ball in space. Zach Wilson last night got the ball out very quick. He wasn't used to the first couple games, but he got adjusted last night. This was the best game he's ever had in his career. Like I said, he was 28 of 39, 245 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He had a 105.2 rating. Zach Wilson, dude, I was called a bust like 2 weeks ago. He's still treading near bust waters, but this was a promising game if you're Robert Saleh, and he was playing behind a really good defense as long as a good scheme from Nathaniel Hackett. The defense held the Chiefs to 23 points, forced 2 turnovers, should have been 3. We're going to get to that in a second. Should have been 3 interceptions, but it could have been 4 too. CJ Mosley dropped 1. But that's what Zach Wilson was working with. You see, Zach Wilson, the talent's there. You can tell with Zach Wilson, the talent's there. We knew in BYU. I know pro days, you can't take a lot of pro days, but that throw he made in pro day, that deep throw off balance, amazing throw he made in pro day. You still need to be very talented to make that throw. You can tell with Zach Wilson, the arm strength is there. The feet, the footwork, the speed, the playmaking ability, it's there. He just needs to put it all together. He needs to fix the accuracy, cut down the turnovers, and learn an NFL offense, get the ball in a space for his playmakers to work. And he can be serviceable. He just needs a good scheme behind him. And you guys, like, one of my options, because, in the past streams we talked about Jets, this is a very good roster, great scheme, great coach, great great defense. This roster's too good. Running back depth, receiver, Garrett Wilson. This roster's just too good not to, close out the season because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. But I said, they can. Everyone was like, okay, Carson Wentz, Jacoby Brissett, Kirk Cousins, Tannehill. I said one of the options was to keep Zach Wilson because Zach Wilson's been in the system for 3 years under Robert Saleh. He's used to these weapons. He just needs time with Nathaniel Hackett's playbook. The offensive line's not that good. He can make plays with his feet, and it opens up the West Coast offense. If you can make plays with your feet, that's exactly what he did last night. He scrambled for a 2-point conversion. He was scrambling for extra yards. Some of his great passes were outside the pocket. That's one of the options, was to keep Zach Wilson and keep trusting in him. And this was a game for Zach Wilson to build his confidence. Now, the Jets are 1-3. They kind of need to win next game. Looking forward for the Jets, though. they still have one of the hardest schedules in the league. So it's only going to get tougher from here. They still have to play the Bills again. They have to play the Dolphins twice. Like, they have to play some really good teams. Belichick's defense again. They're still going to have to play some really good teams. But this was more of like a confidence boost for Zach Wilson. Aaron Rodgers was there. Kind of felt like going in against the Chiefs, Sunday Night Football, primetime. They have a lot more primetime games too left. Sorry, I just hit my desk. That this was the last chance for Zach Wilson, like the very last chance for like Simeon or Kirk Cousins or Ryan Tannehill or who have you that everyone's asking to get in the game. What is his name? Like Zach Boyle or whatever to come in the game. This was like the last chance for Zach Wilson. And although it wasn't a spectacular game, he made a lot of great throws last night and showed off that raw talent that if they can get it together, it can be somewhat manageable to win games. Robert Saleh said after game, if he, Zach Wilson, plays like that, we're going to win a lot of football games. This defense is really good. If Zach Wilson can just keep the ball out of harm's way, throw quick throws to Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, easy throws, dump off to Breece Hall, just don't turn it over. The Jets can still push for the playoffs. I don't think this team's making the playoffs in large part of it because of Zach Wilson's inconsistencies, but they can. The season's just not over. And I think that should be the message in the Jets locker room. His teammates are around him. They have to rally behind him. I hope Aaron Rodgers also rallies behind him as well. But the Chiefs did win that game 23-20. And when I'm watching this game, I get PTSD when I watch the Chiefs. I get PTSD because the Chiefs have just entered a similar space. The Chiefs are in a similar space as Brady's Patriots. I'm getting deja vu all over again. Just like the Patriots and the Chiefs, they can just win in so many different ways. They just can. The Chiefs last week, the Chiefs, Mahomes can throw for 4 touchdowns. They can put up 40 points, can have 300 yards. The very next day, the Chiefs is improving defense, can shut out an offense. They ground and pound Pacheco and win by like 3 points, and they don't even score more than 24 points. Just like Brady's Patriots, Brady one game can put up a lot of points, throw for a lot of touchdowns, but the very next game, he won a Super Bowl 13-3 because the defense, the James Whites of the world, ground and pound, defense restricts the offense. They can win games when Brady throws 2 interceptions or Mahomes throws 2 interceptions. Those two won Super Bowls throwing 2 interceptions. It's just like both those franchises, it just feels like, just like the Patriots, it just feels like we're in the Chiefs. This is the Chiefs world and we're living in it. And just like the 2010s, this is the Patriots world and we're living in it. These two teams, I don't care I don't care if they have a couple of bad regular season stinkers, these two teams, because I know at the end of the day, these teams are most likely going to be in the Super Bowl. Like the Chiefs, they almost lost to Zach Wilson. I don't care. Last year, lost to Mike Holtz. Malik Willis and Davis Mills, one of them was in Kansas City, took them to overtime. They still went on to win the Super Bowl. The year in 2021, they started the year 3-4, still went to the AFC Championship game. And the New England Patriots. Now, this wasn't in New England, but Tom Brady, the year they won the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay, they literally lost the game to Nick Foles' and Chicago Bears because Brady forgot what down it was. Brady forgot what freaking down it was. Remember that? Tom Brady lost a game like that. They still went on to win the Super Bowl. I remember 2015. Everyone was claiming the Patriots dynasty be over because they got absolutely ethered in Kansas City. And then they went on to beat Seattle in the Super Bowl. I don't care if they have a couple stinker regular season games. This is a dynasty. Dynasties figure it out. And it also helps when you're led by the clutchest quarterbacks in each of their eras. They've won multiple Super Bowls down 10. You need to come back. These guys would solve it. It's the Chiefs world, and we're living in it. And just like the Patriots, that was the Patriots world, and we were just living in it. Like this team could win pretty much every single game. You can't count them out of any game, no matter what defense you throw out of them. I mean, the Jets is arguably the best defense in football. Patrick Mahomes was toying with them at the end of the game, scrambling out, throwing loft passes. He gave him chance after chance and still went on to win that game. That's what Patrick Mahomes was doing. Brady did the exact same thing. Like these teams, like if any other team were to have stinker games like the Chiefs or and or the Patriots, I'd be like, okay, this team probably not going to win the Super Bowl. With them, you can't count them out. They can have about 2 to 4 stinkers in a regular season and then go on to win the Super Bowl. It's amazing. They're well coached, clutchest quarterback and best quarterback in the league in each of their eras. Patriots always had elite defense, but the Chiefs' defense, you can tell, is getting better. They can win in different ways. Like I said, Tom Brady won Super Bowl through 500 yards. The very next Super Bowl, he won 13-3. Like Tom Brady won Super Bowls throwing 300 yards and also won Super Bowls barely not even throwing 200 yards. Patrick Mahomes, he's won Super Bowls throwing multiple interceptions. And then he can have a couple touchdowns in the next, and then he have 200 yards, a couple touchdowns in the next one. That's because the Chiefs and Patriots are both dynasties. Dynasties figure it out. Like if anyone was going to be concerned about the Kansas City Chiefs having a stinker here, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be concerned about the Chiefs stinkers here. They had stinkers last season. They went on to win the Super Bowl. Maybe if Aaron Rodgers plays this game, do the Chiefs lose? Probably. But you play who's in front of you, and the Chiefs won. I've been having the Wi-Fi signal on the top of my screen throughout the entire show. Hopefully that this stream wasn't lagging, because that would suck if no one heard what I was saying. Let's move on to Broncos Bears. I'm surprised this even made it to national TV. This was a national TV game. I said to all my people for the game, this should be absolutely wiped off TV. You understand what was coming in this game. The Denver Broncos, absolute mess. Both 0-3 teams, by the way. Mess of a Denver Broncos team. They lost to Jimmy G, Sam Howell blown lead. Then they got 70 dropped on them by the Miami Dolphins. And the Bears. Embarrassing loss after embarrassing loss. Like the Broncos got almost 50 balled last week, and the Bears almost got 40 balled last week. That's the two teams that were going at each other. Battle of just the dumpster fires. I've never seen a bigger fire in my life. And the Broncos came on top 31-28 in Chicago. And Chicago has extended their losing streak to 14. I think I saw a meme on Twitter that since Elon Musk has acquired Twitter, the Bears have not won a game. I hope that's right. Since October, basically, the Bears haven't won a game. 14-game losing streak is insane. The Bears haven't won in basically a year. So if you're the Bears ownership, this is what you got to do. Reset it. If you're the Bears ownership, it's time to reset the team. That's just what you have to do. It's 14-game losing streak. You just got to reset the team. DJ Moore and the kids they just drafted, that's all I'm keeping. Everyone else, Bears ownership, got to reset the team. Justin Fields, I think you spend the rest of the season trying to boost his stock as much as possible, then trade him for like a 4th rounder. Everyone under contract on defense should just clear their locker room by the end of the season. And that entire coaching staff, should just hop on LinkedIn and find another job. Guys, Fields is 5-24. I feel like I repeat this all the time. As a starter. And they supposedly brought in a new staff and upgraded the roster. And it's not working. I mean, they for crying out loud, they just lost at home to a Denver Broncos team who, since they acquired Russ, it seems like it's just been impossible for them to win a game. I mean, this is the same team that lost to Jimmy G at home, blew 18-point lead to Sam freaking Howell, and got 70 points dropped on them. If you're the owner of the Bears, I'm calling up Michael Rubin tonight and tell him, start printing Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. jerseys. You just got to blow up this team. Like, I'm only keeping DJ Moore, the kids they just drafted, and then that's it. Then you go draft Caleb Williams. You're most likely going to have the first pick and the second pick because the Panthers are also bad as well. You have the Panthers pick. And then go get Caleb Williams. Go get Marvin Harrison Jr. You have a Marvin Harrison Jr., Caleb Williams, maybe keep Khalil Herbert, but you'll have Roshan Johnson, DJ Moore stack on offense. The offensive linemen that you just signed and drafted recently, you'll have them. Go spend some money in free agency because you'll have a lot, especially if you cut all these guys. You'll have a lot of money in free agency. Go pursue new guys. Guys would want to play for Caleb Williams. That's what you got to do. Cut your losses. It's impossible for this team to win. Justin Fields, I'll give Justin Fields a tiny bit of credit here. Justin Fields is 28-35, 335 passing yards, 4 tutties, and they lost. It's not like they lost to the Chiefs. They didn't lose to the Bills. They didn't lose to the Dolphins. They didn't lose to San Francisco. They lost to the dumpster fire in Denver, the West Coast dumpster fire, who just can't get anything right. Now the Bears are 0-4, 14-game losing streak. Fields 5-24 as a starter. Dude, this is just not working. I got to blow everything up. And it's just right on schedule. I know Fields, congratulations to Justin Fields. He won the first half. He had 4 touchdowns. Career high. He had his first 300 passing yard game. Congratulations, Justin Fields. CJ Stroud still has more 300-yard passing games than you, and you have 3 years more of experience than him. Congrats, bro. Like, what happened, guys? What was my biggest criticism when we react to the Buccaneers-Bears game? What was my biggest criticism? I told you guys, Fields, when it's time to step in the pocket, game-winning drive. I've made the same take. I remember my radio show I had freshman year of college. It was 2 years ago. This was Justin Fields' rookie season. And I still saw this happen last year as well. Fields, pocket, game-winning drive. Whole world knows you're going to throw. He throws a game-losing interception every single time. That's what Justin Fields does. Game-losing interception every single time. He also still holds on to the ball too long, takes sacks. He had 4. Then he had a fumble. Like, Fields has potential. Yes, he does. But if I'm the Bears, even at his best, I gotta give him up. Especially if if it was a weak quarterback class, maybe I'm holding on to Justin Fields. But you're 3 years in, you kind of know who he is. Even at his best day, you guys are still losing. Might as well go get Caleb Williams, who I'm going to talk about later, one of the best prospects I've ever seen. You got to go do that. Now, the coaching is bad. I also said you got to fire that entire staff. That staff is horrible. That coaching staff is horrible. They were okay earlier in the game. Now, this is a defensive head coach for the Bears. But his defense allowed 31 points to go unanswered. 31 points. Not 31 points. They allowed like 24 points to go unanswered. The Bears were up 28-7 midway through the third quarter and lost that game. Bad coaching. Like that 4th down play. And the Bears could have easily kicked a field goal. You know, this could have been like, it was like the Zach Wilson game, but they already gave him Zach Wilson, but almost like this would have been a good confidence game for Justin Fields because you can tell weeks 1 through 3, post-game interviews, him not being able to see the field. He's completely lost confidence in himself. He was hyped this game. You pretty much shattered the remaining confidence Justin Fields had because you still lost, even though he was at his best. Because there was a play in the game, fourth down in their territory, opposing territory. They could have kicked a field goal, 31-28. They got cute, went for it, handed off to Khalil Herbert when everyone in the world knew they were going to run with Khalil Herbert and got stopped. And then Broncos went down the field. They still need to get – all they need to get was 3, though. Defense still held them to 3. Justin Fields threw the game-losing interception. What's new? Guys, I've seen this game over and over and over again. They're 0-4. Fields game-losing interception. Coaching staff sucks. DJ Moore, kids they just drafted. I'm cutting everyone loose. I would try to have a couple more Fields games like this so you can sell them to other markets. I'm cutting it loose. You can't win with this. Losing to Denver is just the biggest rock bottom ever. Got blown out by Kansas City. Now you're losing at home to a dumpster fire. All right, let's go to USC Colorado. Speaking of Caleb Williams, Justin Fields' future replacement, they played Colorado. And it's not some casual take show during the football season about Colorado getting its own segment. This is my favorite football team of the year, not named Indianapolis Colts. So USC won 48-41. Close game against Colorado. Now, I don't like moral victories and moral losses. I don't like these type of games. But if you were to ask me, who feels better about Saturday, Colorado or USC? Colorado feels 10 times better than USC does. Coach Prime or Lincoln Riley, who feels better? Coach Prime lost. Lincoln Riley won. Who feels better today? Coach Prime. I'm not into this moral victories and loss stuff, but USC has to kind of feel like they lost that game despite winning, because this defense will hold them back from national title. The defense was awful in the second half. It was awful in the second half against Colorado. And it's been awful pretty much all year. Even with new players, this defense will absolutely hold them back for a national title. Which is a typical Lincoln Riley team. Who would have thought? Great offense with a Heisman winning quarterback, but won't win the Natty because of their defense. What is it now? Baker Mayfield, Heisman. Kyler Murray, Heisman. Jalen Hurts. I don't believe Hurts won the Heisman, but I believe Hurts was a contender. And then Caleb Williams, Heisman last year, is going to be a Heisman this year. No natties. USC is probably not even going to make the college football playoff. And a large part of that, it's not because of their offense. Offense is amazing. They always have, Lincoln Riley teams always have one of the best offenses in the sport. But they're probably not even going to make the college football playoffs, let alone the national championship game. Despite the Heisman Trophy winner always being on your sideline because of this defense. Last year, they didn't make the college football playoff because of the defense. I mean, they got absolutely destroyed by Utah in the Pac-12 championship game. They picked up some unnecessary losses last year because of this defense. I mean, against Colorado, 41-14, USC was up with 7 minutes to go in the third. Sorry. That's the lead they blew. Almost a 30-point lead the defense gave up. They surrendered 32 first downs and 564 total yards to Colorado. Colorado, by the way, was without Travis Hunter. Colorado, by the way, is a poor running team. And they ran all over USC's defense, especially in that second half. They had 193 yards rushing, Colorado did, with 2 touchdowns on USC's defense. Colorado was one of the worst running teams in college football. They also didn't sack Shedeur Sanders that much. I think he only got like a couple sacks on him. And Shedeur Sanders going into the game was the most sacked college football quarterback in the league. They couldn't even guard a true freshman, Amarian Miller, true freshman, in the shadow of Jimmy Horn, Xavier Weaver, Travis Hunter, true freshman, Amarian Miller. People didn't know who he was so bad that even in the post-game press conference, they messed up his name. I even stumbled on his name a little bit. I didn't know who this dude was before going in the game. He put up 16 catches. He put up 7 catches for 196 and a tutty. He was a big play machine. They didn't even throw a double team at him. I don't even know what the strategy was for that. USC is 103rd in total yards given up per game. That's not a national title winning defense. 2 weeks ago, USC was at 5. They're now at 9. They're at 9 now for a reason, the 8 people. They're at 9 now for a reason. Because this team, this defense is rarely suspect. I mean, let's look at their schedule. They're behind 2 Pac-12 teams, by the way. USC is 5-0 with the high-rated Heisman Trophy winner. They're averaging like 50 a game. They just dropped 48 on the road. Heisman reigning trophy winner. Lincoln Riley's your coach. Big brand USC. They've dropped 4 spots in 2 weeks. And they're behind 2 Pac-12 teams because of this defense. AP polls know it. Look at the remaining schedule. They still got to play number 10 Notre Dame, number 18 Utah, number 7 Washington, number 8 Oregon. UCLA is no longer ranked, but don't sleep on UCLA. UCLA is a pretty good program. Don't sleep on them. They got like 5 comp games remaining. This is one of the if not the hardest path to the college football playoff. And despite having Caleb Williams, who I think will be the back-to-back Heisman Trophy winner, the first time since the 1970s with Archie Griffin, they're not going to make the college football playoff. There's a very good chance that USC ends the season with like 2 losses because of this defense. I mean, this defense has been giving them trouble. Even some like not so great teams. Or Arizona State, they pulled away at the end, but Arizona State was a game. Arizona State for a while was a game. They put 28 on USC's defense. I can't even name you 2 players on Arizona State. San Jose State, remember the opener? It was a game at halftime. San Jose State was driving on that defense. Now, week one, there's some adjustment to week one, but because there's no preseason in college football, but still, multiple teams have put up 28 points or more on this defense. That's not a good sign when you have to go play some of the two best offenses in the sport, Oregon and Washington, back-to-back weeks. What do you think Washington and Michael Penix could steal the Heisman off Caleb Williams based on that game because that defense by USC. I'll just say it. Penix can, for real, if Penix can manage to stay undefeated, go into USC, go into Memorial Stadium and beat Caleb Williams and beat that defense. Penix can steal the Heisman. I know Penix is going to put up 400 yards because what did Shedeur put up? Shedeur put up. Sorry, switching to my notes here. Shedeur put up 371, 4 tutties. Yeah, Penix is putting up with that pro style offense with those receivers. Penix is probably putting up 400 yards, 5 tutties. I'm concerned if I'm Lincoln Riley right now. Their defense is getting better though. They are. It's an improving defensive unit, but it's not a national title winning defense. And the only reason why USC is 5-0 is because Caleb Williams and Lincoln Riley are just such a great duo. But Colorado, again, I'm not in this moral victory crap, but Colorado has to feel good today. Guys, it's hard to rebuild a program. Let's face it. I know Colorado just lost to 2 comp teams in their conference. They're 0-2 in their conference. They've lost 2 in a row. They're now 3-2. I know. Coach Prime is all the hype. But let's bring our expectations down for Colorado just a bit, okay? I know people are raising expectations because all the media hype, but let's be real. It's hard to rebuild a program. It just is. Colorado has 60-plus, feels like, new scholarship players. They have a bunch of new guys. No Travis Hunter, no Shiloh. Had to go play USC, a team that a lot of people have making the college football playoff with the reigning Heisman about to be 2, and they barely lost. I mean, if you look at that team, no Travis Hunter, no Shiloh. They still have a bunch of guys who were part of that 1-11 team. And they almost lost. They almost beat USC. It's just hard to rebuild a program. Coach Prime, despite being such an excellent recruiter, you can't. He became the coach in December. It's October. It hasn't even been a year since he's been wearing his Colorado gear. You can't flip a 1-11 roster like that. There's going to be some holes. Now, what Colorado has changed, what Colorado has rebuilt is speed. They're 10 times faster. They have a lot of speed outside. They have the quarterback. They have the star in Travis Hunter. They have some good complementary guys. Like I said, the perimeter, the speed is there. Amari Miller looks like a home run. They have some speed. But up front, they still have issues. That offensive line, defensive line, you can tell they got some guys who still play on that 1-11 team. That's going to come next year. That can't come in a year. There's no way. They're 21-point dogs to both these teams for a reason. They were 21-point dogs to TCU, Oregon, and USC for a reason. They don't have the talent as those guys. This is not like if Coach Prime Florida hasn't been a national title contender team in a long time. Coach Prime can go to Florida right now and probably get a national title and probably make the college football playoff in 2 years, in a year. Because that team already is 5 stars all over the place. I think Kentucky just blew out Florida. Coach Prime can go to Florida right now, go to the college football playoff in probably a year. He can't do that with Colorado because Florida, at least, they're not 1-11. They have 5 stars just sitting around the roster. Colorado had 0 5 stars before Coach Prime showed up. But you got to give Colorado some credit here. This is a great bounce back performance. Much better game plan. Against Oregon, they really struggled getting the ball to their playmakers. I know they didn't have Travis Hunter, but they still have some really good playmakers. They have, Jimmy Horn, Weaver. They got guys. They got Dylan Edwards. Shedeur Sanders also played a much better game. Like I said, 4 touchdowns. Their game plan definitely shifted. They were able to execute then that said game plan, which is more of that West Coast that I was talking about, Zach Wilson, which is one of the things about college football is offenses have such an advantage over defenses more than the NFL. That's why you see all these ridiculous stat lines. And the key to college football is throw with anticipation, get the ball quickly to your playmakers so they can run in open space. Shedeur and that offense struggled to do that against Oregon, but against USC's defense with a week of film, they were able to come out and have a bounce-back performance. They're going to be fine. I think they could probably still – now they still have to play Utah. They still have to play Washington State. They still have to play Oregon State. They have some good teams that can play. I think they can stink out a couple of those wins against those top-ranked Pac-12 teams and then go on to a bowl game. Like, Colorado's already proved themselves. I don't think they have nothing else to prove. Did you really think Colorado had to prove themselves against USC? Really? If that was your expectations, then cool, dude. Like, if that was your expectations, then cool. To me, they already proved themselves. Beating TCU week 1 was like enough. It showed that Colorado in the spotlight, an irrelevant program, has been changed. And Coach Prime did that, bringing his son, Travis Hunter, and company. Like, as long as Colorado wins 8 games, goes to a bowl, does good, that's a wonderful season. That will work wonders for their program. Coach Prime said after game, if you can't see what's coming to CU football, you've lost your mind. They win at least 8 games, couple big win over TCU. Shedeur comes back. Hunter comes back. Shiloh Sanders comes back. Mario Miller comes back. They have big Pac-12 wins. They go to a new conference. They possibly sneak out a bowl game. They win 8 to 10 games. Like, how many recruits do you think they're going to get? They're going to start getting 5 stars next year. Then that offensive line is going to get fixed. They're going to have 3 to 5 star offensive linemen, 3 to 5 star defensive linemen. Second year is going to get better. You can't throw and run on the team like you used to. Up front, Shedeur's not going to get sacked as much because, according to Dion, Coach Prime, Shedeur's not going to the league this season. Colorado, I think my prediction is this team's going to be a top 15 team next year. By the end of next year, when they get those 5 stars, they're going to be a top 15 team. People should be scared. This was a promising, I know, the moral victory. This is a promising game for Colorado. All right, let's talk a little bit more college football, then we're going to get to NBA, then we're going to wrap up the show. I kind of like talking about college football. Listen, I'm from Columbus, so I'm in the college football space a little bit. I watch all the Ohio State games. I watched all the Ohio State games. I'll watch big games here and there, but I was more of a pro before college football type of guy. But now that I'm in college, everyone here likes college football. I'm starting this podcast saying I want to take the sports media thing seriously, but I kind of need to know. The way you want to know who's going to come into the NFL is actually watch them play throughout the season and not just cram and film at the end of the year. So I got to watch more college football. But now this whole I said last show, this whole Coach Prime thing is making me gravitate towards college football. Like that Colorado State game had 9 million viewers. That's not 9 million college football fans. There's definitely a couple million people who just watched the Coach Prime game because it was on ESPN. They know Dion. They don't really care that much about college football. That's kind of like me. But now I'm so invested. College football, and it's such a great year for college football too, because it just doesn't feel like, oh, Alabama's going to win it. Who cares? Oh, Georgia's going to win it. Who cares? Oh, Clemson, Alabama, match number 6 in a row. That's not happening. This is a very wide open college football playoff race. I feel like there's like 7 to 8 teams that can actually compete for a national championship this year. But there's no like one dominant team that's separated from the pack, especially with this Georgia game that looks pretty sus. So I want to declare who my best team in the nation is. Because we're like, what, a third into the season? This is week 5 of college football. So we're about like a third or almost midway of the college football season. And immediately following the Colorado, see, this is what happens. Immediately following the Colorado USC game on Fox was Michigan, Nebraska. So I stayed to watch Michigan, Nebraska because it was on, and I wanted to watch Michigan because they beat Ohio State from Columbus back-to-back games. I wanted to see if Michigan was actually for real because they haven't really played anybody. But man, is this team for real despite them not playing anybody. And it hurts for me to say this. Michigan beat the that was some like congestion. Sorry. Michigan beat the brakes off Nebraska 45-7. This is the best team in the nation. Dude, that hurts. That hurts for me to say it because I'm from Columbus, like I said. And, you know, it's OHIO up there in Columbus. The boys up north, when it's time to play Michigan, cross out the Mets. Like, you're a Michigan fan? It's like that, bro. But I hate to say it. But Michigan's the best team in college football. You know, Harbaugh's first couple of years when he arrived in Michigan, what was the narrative? good enough competitive team, 8 to 10 wins a season, just not good enough to beat OSU. Therefore, not good enough to go to the Big Ten championship game and then the college football playoff. But these past 2 years, what's been the narrative? It's kind of starting to change a bit, right? You got now, okay, good enough to beat OSU, therefore good enough to win the Big Ten and go to the college football playoff, but not good enough to win the national championship game. But I think what I saw on Saturday is that the narrative is almost done to a 180 flip, where now it's like Michigan's better than Ohio State, therefore they're the best team in the Big Ten. And I think today, Michigan should be, if not the favorite to win the national title game. They're that good. Oh, but Steven, Michigan just hasn't played anybody. They've barely played outside of Ann Arbor. I understand that. They don't have a dramatic victory like OSU does in South Bend. They don't have a powerhouse victory. They don't have a victory over a powerhouse in Alabama like Texas does. They're not as flashy as USC. They don't push the ball down the field, pro-style vertical offense like Washington. But when I watch the tape, I see a team that dominates everyone that they play. You play whoever's on your schedule. And if a good team has a mid-team on their schedule, we expect them to blow them out. What Michigan does is they blow you out and then some. They dominate you. They make you not want to play football anymore. They make these teams look like they should never play football again. Michigan's only given up 30 points all year. No one has scored above double digits against Michigan. They're winning by an average of 24 points. Michigan's defense is so good that they're giving up the 4th fewest yards in the nation, and they're leading the nation with 6 points allowed a game. Nebraska, they were up 45-0. Nebraska, NFL head coach, packed stadium, loud. Michigan beat them. Michigan was up 45-0 until the final 5 minutes of the game. And you can say all this stuff about, Michigan hasn't played anybody, but you're so comfortable to say Georgia's the favorite. Georgia should be number one. When let's look who Georgia's played. Georgia hasn't played squat. And unlike Michigan, Georgia struggles to beat the squat. Michigan blew out Nebraska, while on the same day, Georgia could barely beat Auburn. Michigan's the best team in football. I think right now the AP, they just released their poll yesterday. They got it wrong. Michigan should be the 1, Georgia 2. Now I'd probably put like Texas 3. I don't know who I'm going to put 4. Maybe Ohio State, maybe Washington. That's who I'd probably put 4. Maybe Penn State getting like 5. That's who I'd put there. Oregon 6. You know what I mean? But Michigan should be number 1. It's the narrative has changed. Because I remember when, as an Ohio State fan, I remember all the Harbaugh drama. Remember, people were calling for Harbaugh to be fired because he kept losing OSU again and again and again. And he was losing bowl games. And he lost that bowl game in Alabama that one year pretty bad. That's the games that Harbaugh couldn't win. But then Harbaugh started getting better at recruiting. He started getting a lot of better guys. They got faster. They got more physical. They got tough. They started playing Harbaugh football that he brought to Stanford and San Francisco 49ers. That's what he brought. And now they've beaten OSU back-to-back years in the Big Ten. They've won the Big Ten back-to-back years. And they've gone on. Now, they didn't win. They didn't go to the college football playoff, but they didn't go to the championship game, but they at least appeared in the college football playoff. And now, I think today, I see a team that's not only, now they're just better than Ohio State. These last 2 years, I thought they were like equal with Ohio State. But now I think they're just flat out better than Ohio State. J.J. McCarthy, I'm not the biggest J.J. McCarthy fan in the world. I don't think he's like this pure NFL talent. But J.J. McCarthy, he can sling it a little bit, bro. 2 tutties, 4 incompletions. As long as he's in a place where he can keep the ball out of harm's way, he can play behind this defense, this ground and pound. He doesn't throw interceptions. McCarthy's fine. I know it's a little bar to a lot of people, but McCarthy's better than Kyle McCord of Ohio State. He is. McCarthy's better than Kyle McCord. So I got a better quarterback now. And I think outside of, perimeter talent, Ohio State's always going to be better. Buka, Fleming, Marvin Harrison Jr. Ohio State's always going to be better on the perimeter. But I think everywhere else, from quarterback, offensive line, defensive line, Michigan's just better overall. And you can even say that Harbaugh's a better coach than Ryan Day. I'd say so. Harbaugh, been to a Super Bowl. I think he's a better coach than Ryan Day. So everywhere else, other than like perimeter talent, Michigan's better. That offensive line, defensive line, some of the best in the nation. That offensive line just pushes and pushes and pushes up front. Blake Corum, before he got hurt, he was a Heisman candidate last year. He came back, and now he's a running back. He had 74 yards. He had a touchdown. Donovan Edwards is still there. These are guys who ran all over OSU. And that defensive line, they get to the quarterback. They sack. They push the team. They push you backwards. This defense is so good. They don't keep you out of the end zone. They keep you out of field goal range, ladies and gentlemen. This defense doesn't keep you out of the end zone. Everyone always measures a defense based on how well they keep you out of the end zone. They don't just keep you out of the end zone. They keep you away from the 50-yard line. That's how good this defense is. Now I can see why you give Georgia the benefit of the doubt. AP is getting Georgia the benefit of the doubt. I get it. Kirby Smart's still there. Back-to-back national champion. SEC bias. I get it. Brock Bowers, I got my phone buzzed. Brock Bowers, insane guy. I get the bias, but let's be real. Michigan should be number one. Now, I do want to see, are they the true number one? No, because I do want to see how they play the Nittany Lions. I do want to see how they play Drew Adler against Penn State. Now, I think it's at Penn State as well, so that's going to be tough. I still want to see him, again, play Ohio State. I think Ohio State post the Notre Dame game is better than they were in weeks 1 through 2. I want to see how they play. But, man, if Ohio State wasn't going to beat Michigan last year or the year before with an insane roster, insane receiving cores, and a better quarterback, with Michigan's returning basically the same team, I don't think they're beating Michigan. I think Michigan's the best team in college football. I do want to see them play better, but the way they just dominate their opponents up front and they play boring. Like I said, they don't have key victories. They don't push the ball down the field. They're not flashy. They don't have a Bo Nix. They don't have a Caleb Williams. They don't have a Michael Penix. They don't run pro-style offense. They don't have the receivers of a Washington. They're not going to score 60 points and throw for 500 yards and 4 passing touchdowns like a Caleb Williams. J.J. McCarthy isn't going to sniff a Heisman. But they're going to go undefeated. They're going to out-physical you. They're going to run it down your throat. And they're going to keep you out of the end zone. And they're probably going to win the national championship. It should be a boring national champion. Not every national champion has to be some flashy like LSU 2019. No. A national champion could just win strictly off defense, power running, don't turn the ball over, and keep you out of the end zone. Old school. All right, let's do NBA, and then we'll get up out of here. Okay, so over the weekend, Jrue Holiday, former Bucks guard, traded to Portland in a 3-team deal for Portland to give the Bucks Damian Lillard. Now, no Friday show. Unfortunately, I missed the Damian Lillard trade. I couldn't break it down. It's Monday now. You guys have heard all the Damian Lillard stuff by now. The Damian Lillard trade was on Wednesday? It's been almost a week since the trade. I don't need to tell you guys about this Damian Lillard trade, who won, who lost. Everyone's talked about it. Let's talk about this Jrue Holiday thing. So then Jrue Holiday's in Portland. Portland, obviously, we knew he doesn't fit the Portland timeline. Portland's got Anthony Simons. They got Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe. They got all these guards, young guards, trying to rebuild. So we knew they were going to flip Jrue Holiday for assets. It's just a matter of where Jrue Holiday was going to go. Was he going to go to Miami? Was he going to go to the Clippers? Or his teams in the running? He ends up going to Boston for Malcolm Brogdon. Pretty good piece. He's a 6th man of the year last year. Robert Williams, all NBA level defender if he's healthy, and a couple picks to go to Boston. And this is Boston really quickly. This is a good move for Boston because now I'm seeing at the betting lines, Boston and Milwaukee pretty much flip-flop for who's the favorite to win the Eastern Conference or to honestly win the NBA title, it looks like. So it was like an arms race between Milwaukee and Boston. They're in like a tier of their own. We talk about the Eastern Conference, at least by itself. Milwaukee and Boston are at this tier, and everyone else is behind. I don't think the Cavs are that close. I love the Cavs. I think the Cavs are a tier below them. Philly, James Harden drama, they're just below them. And we're left with Miami Heat. Where does Miami fall in this Eastern Conference tiers? Miami just unfortunately lost out again. Guys, how many jersey swaps have we seen on NBA Instagram or NBA Twitter, or how many Dunk Central, NBA Central, that Twitter account, rumors, how many Woj, how many ESPN segments we have to see since like 2016, since LeBron and Dwayne Wade left, of Miami's in the running for this player? How many players did they lose out on? What, like Kevin Durant? Remember that Gordon Hayward in 2016 thing? Who else? Bradley Beal recently. They just lost out on Damian Lillard. Jimmy Butler, they did get Jimmy Butler. That was a good move. That was a home run. I mean, obviously that was a home run. But the other guys they've lost out on throughout the years, Russell Westbrook, they lost out on a lot of guys via trade, free agency. It seems like every big name guy in the trade and free agency rumors, Kyrie they've lost out on. The Heat lost out on another player. It's just like, how many guys you're going to lose out on? And I know this sounds bad, what I'm about to say. It doesn't seem like the brightest thing in the world. Heat fans are like, oh my God, how can you say this? Let's be real and start ourselves here, guys. The Heat making the last year's finals, I think the Heat making last year's finals was more of a bad thing for the franchise than a good thing. It sounds stupid, but let me explain. I said this last show. We talked about Damian Lillard and Miami needing Dame. Perfect timing, because a day after the show goes live, the tweet for Dame goes to Milwaukee. I said in that show, if something happens over and over and over again, it looks more like a pattern than an outlier. So the Heat organization saw 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances, 2 NBA Finals appearances, and thought that made them a consistent contender. The Heat front office believes that they are a consistent contender, but I got news for them. They overachieved every single time. Like that last year appearing in the NBA Finals, I think validated the Heat into believing that they're a consistent contender. But in reality, I think they overachieved every single year they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Miami Heat have been a 5 seed or below 3 of the 4 years since the decade. Like, I don't understand what Pat Riley sees in this roster. I see a play-in team all over this roster. I don't get why Pat Riley thinks his team could win the Eastern Conference. The reality is with this team is that they've been living off of Jimmy Butler turning into prime MJ pretty much every single playoff run, Linsanities from role players, and some injury luck. But sooner or later, that's going to run out, and they lost pieces in the offseason, and someone's got to tell sleepy Pat Riley that the East got even harder. I'm telling you, they don't make the finals last year. They lose in the play-in or lose to Milwaukee in the first round. I bet you a ton of money that Damian Lillard is on South Beach right now sipping Michelob's with Jimmy Butler. Pat Riley would overpay for Damian Lillard if they would have lost. But since they made the finals again, since they have, 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances, 2 NBA Finals appearances, since the turn of the decade, that Heat organization has a dangerous mindset that they think that this team can stand with some of the best in the East and that they're a consistent contender. It's so funny, too, because the year that I actually thought they were okay, a good enough contender, was the year that they won seed. They didn't even go to the finals. But there's a reason why they never won the finals. You play the game to win the championship, by the way. You don't play the game to maybe win the East. You play the sport to win the championship. That's why you build your rosters around winning championships. There's a reason why the Heat have never won the championship. They've won the East miraculously because, like I told you, Jimmy Butler turns into prime MJ. He had like a 35-point per game playoff series against Milwaukee. Prime MJ. The role players have an insanity run. Caleb Martin, 20 points against Boston. And they get some injury luck. Tatum rolled ankle, Giannis injury. They get some injury luck. But then in the playoffs, Caleb Martin comes down to reality. Jimmy Butler doesn't look like MJ. And then there's no injury luck in the NBA Finals for them. And then they lose. There's a reason why. Pat Riley thinks he can just godfather his way into getting Damian Lillard, Jrue Holiday. It's just not going to work. Other teams are going to give you better offers. You can't lowball these other teams because you think your team's fine. They needed Damian Lillard. Now Dame's gone. They needed Jrue Holiday. Imagine this team today with Jrue Holiday. Guys, they lost Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent isn't there anymore. Gabe Vincent was like their 3rd leading scorer in the NBA Finals. He's gone. Their only point guard depth is Kyle Lowry. Victor Oladipo, I'm pretty sure, is gone as well. Their only point guard depth is Kyle Lowry. Guys, Kyle Lowry is pushing 60. Kyle Lowry's pushing 60, guys. He's not that good anymore. That's their point guard that they're going to be rolling out in a 7-game series, matched up against Damian Lillard. Jrue Holiday, although Jrue Holiday is not the youngest guy in the world, he's younger than Kyle Lowry. He's a better bucket getter than Kyle Lowry. He's a miles better defender. Who do you want guarding Damian Lillard Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals? Kyle Lowry, Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday's an all NBA level defender, one of the best guard defenders in basketball. I know he's not as good as a guard defender as he was like 4 years ago, but I still think he's one of the best guard defenders in basketball. He's a clutch defender too. How many clutch steals has he got in the NBA Finals, NBA playoffs? That's who they could have had on their team. Imagine a wing of Jimmy Butler, Jrue Holiday, and then Bam in the paint. It's one of the best defenses in the NBA. Although offensively, I think they still lack. At least he doesn't go to Boston. The bad thing, too, about this, too, is that not only is Damian Lillard and Jrue Holiday not on Miami, they're going to their competitors. So not only did they lose out on these pieces, they went to their competitors. They're not beating Milwaukee again. Giannis is not getting hurt. Dame is more reliable, especially in the first round. Dame's one of the best first-round playoff performers ever. Dame's way more reliable offensively than Jrue Holiday. And Boston, unless Boston just completely gets hurt like Porzingis or what have you, Boston is way better than Miami. Miami was a 7th seed last year that became an 8th seed because they lost some playing for a reason. They're just not that good. Why can't we just see that Miami overachieved? Why can't Pat Riley see that Miami overachieved? Miami's a good team. They're a playoff team. Jimmy Butler's one of the best players in the world. Tyler Herro's a former 6th man of the year and gets you 20 a game. But you're comfortable. You tell me you're comfortable today with going in the playoffs against Dame and Giannis with Tyler Herro as your second best player. Tyler Herro. No! Tyler Herro, by the way, back-to-back Game 7s against Boston Eastern Conference Finals. He hasn't played a single minute in any of those games because he's been hurt. Bam Adebayo was good. He's not the consistent offensive piece to compete with Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Jrue Holiday, and Kristaps Porzingis. He's not a consistent offensive piece to compete with Dame and Giannis, Chris Middleton. He's not. He's not. They lost Strus. They lost Gabe Vincent, key role guys helping get to the finals for what? Nothing. They drafted Hawkins. That's about it. They got in Josh Richardson. This team isn't that good. They're in the same tiers like Philly. I think Cleveland. I think that tier 1 right now, I think would go Boston, Milwaukee in its own tier. Then I'd go Cleveland, maybe Philly next to Cleveland. Philly just has to work out the chemistry issues, and if James Harden actually suits up for them, then a tier below, I'd go like Miami, and then whoever you want to put in the East, because I don't think anyone else matters. Like Indiana, Toronto, no one else honestly matters. Chicago, if they're healthy, I don't really care. I don't think anyone else really matters in the Eastern Conference. New York would be next to Miami. That's about it. New York's also a team that loses out in free agents, but like Pat Riley, can he make a significant move for this team? Jimmy Butler, like I said, congrats. That's a home run. That was a home run. But I'm getting reports that you were sleeping through the trade deadline, man. I've been asking all offseason for Miami to make a move. This was before I like go back to these past podcasts. I've been asking all summer. Miami, just make a move. Get Dame. Sorry, you get Dame. You're probably not I don't know if you're the favorite in the East if you get Dame, but man, you can so easily go back to the finals if you get Dame. I'd be so confident in your finals if you go back to Dame. You might not be the most talented team in the East, but if you have Dame, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, if you went to the finals last year, why can't you do it again? Now you have Dame. But not only did you lose key players last year getting the finals, now your competition only got better. Miami is a victim to this terrible mindset. And I think it's going to destroy this franchise. And we're going to see these next couple of years. I know there's going to be some Heat fans who said, oh, you said this last year and we still made the finals. Dude, sooner or later, Jimmy Butler's 34. Sooner or later, like you can't just keep banking on a 34-year-old turning into Michael Jordan. Sooner or later, you're going to come back to earth. You're going to have a bad playoff series and you're going to get booted out. You can't do this every year. Now you're at such a talent disadvantage. How? You always have Butler, you always have Spoelstra, you always have Bam Adebayo, but that's about it, bro. Tyler Herro is solid, but that's about it, bro. Let's keep it a stack. This team needed desperately to make a move. They didn't, and it's going to cost them. And I attribute this to Pat Riley. This is all on Pat Riley for getting blindsided by the fact that they have 3 Eastern Conference Finals appearances since 2019-20 season, 2 NBA Finals appearances, but they have no rings, and that's for a reason. You want a ring? Go get Damian Lillard. You want to try for a ring? You want to actually try for a ring, not some insanity to run for finals. No, like actually be some comp team. Go get Jrue Holiday. But we're an hour in, and I like having an hour show. I appreciate you guys for turning. It's like turning an assignment for tuning in to episode 66 of the Some Casual Takes podcast. Follow my social medias. It's very important because we didn't have a show on Friday. Follow my social medias to stay updated on all things related to the show. Next show would be Friday at 12. I assume so. I don't have class on Friday, so I assume so. Pretty much going to talk about Thursday Night Football. Anything that happens throughout the week, we're going to talk about that as well. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Shout out to my YouTube audience. Shout out to people who are watching live on Twitch, and I'll see you guys on Friday.